I don't think there is any one thing that strikes fear more into the heart of homeschooling parents than having to create a high school transcript. Yeah, they tell me that all the time, that this is going to be really hard. Actually, I've had people comment on this very channel that they paid upwards of $3, $4, and even $500 online for a high school transcript. And I'm here to tell you today, you don't have to do that. It is not that hard, and I'm going to give you some great tips on exactly how to make it easier. Hi everyone, I'm Pam Barnhill, and I have helped thousands of homeschoolers create doable systems, beat burnout, and bring more joy to their homeschool day. And I'm here today to help you make that high school transcript. And we're going to do that with just a few tips. So the first tip I have for you about making a high school transcript is to keep records. And what I'm talking about there does not have to be super fancy. It doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as keeping yourself a little composition notebook and writing things down. But what I discovered over the course of homeschooling my daughter, who graduated last year, was when we got to 12th grade, we were kind of forgetting things that had happened when she was in 9th grade. And so I really needed to go back and refer to the plans that I had made. Now, that was good. Going back to the plans that I had made and looking at, I pulled up my Put Your Homeschool Year on Autopilot planning forms, and I looked back at all the different plans that I had made for our high school year, and we pretty much had done those plans and had carried those out. We also could have used a list of books that she had read. And so that would have been something really good to put in this planning form. And you don't have to do it in a notebook. You could do it in the Notes app on your phone. You could do it on a document on your computer. You could do it on a spreadsheet in a Google Drive, whatever you want to do. But just having some place where you're keeping a record of the books that your child is reading, you're keeping a record of the different things that you did, baby poems that you're memorizing, talks that they did, recitals that they gave, those things that might count as elective classes that they took, like what year did she do ballet and what year did she do karate. Those were all the kinds of things that it would have been really great to have just a simple few page record of. Even take a few loose leaf pages and stick them in your teacher's binder. So there are so many different ways you can keep records, but you want to just have something. And I find just jotting things down with a pen as we do them is perhaps one of the easiest ways. So simple record keeping. So tell me in the comments below, how are you keeping records for your high schooler? Maybe they're even using Goodreads to track their books, but there's so many different ways you can do it. Let's share and let's talk about the different ways that we might be keeping records. So now I'm doing it on a spreadsheet on my computer. My second tip for creating a transcript after keeping really good records all through the high school years is to keep it simple. Remember, a transcript is a communication tool. This is a tool that you're using to communicate to the college what it was your child did, or maybe even like the insurance company, because you can get really great discounts for keeping a transcript and providing a transcript of your students' grades. Maybe for scholarship applications, you're providing a transcript, but really at the heart of it, it's just a communication tool. You're telling these other people how your child did in high school, what they did in high school, and what their education has looked like. And if you look at transcript samples online, you will see that they are very traditional, very simple in the way they're set up. And that's what you want your transcript to look like. You want it to look like all the others. This is not the time to be like Elle Woods and like, have it on pink paper and spray it with perfume, right? You want it to be look like just like everybody else's, right? Not add that little special something. So you don't want fancy or crazy fonts. You don't want page after page. Nobody wants to read that. A 1 to 2 page transcript is absolutely perfect. And you want to include the basic information while it looks professional. And then name things common names. Even if you did something really crazy one year and you're calling it an English class, which is perfectly fine. I encourage you to embrace that. One year we studied mythology the entire year, and Olivia's big writing assignment was creating a magazine about Greek mythology, and we read just all these different myths from around the world. But when it came time to put that on her transcript, because that is what she had done that year as her English literature class, I put it on the transcript as English 10. So I didn't try to name it something different. I didn't try to make it something crazy. I didn't try to stand out with that particular class. I just called it English 10. Now, if anybody ever came back to me and said, can you give me a course description for English 10, I would be happy to give that course description and include some information in there about the mythology course that I put together. But first of all, I'm not going to do that unless somebody asks. And secondly, I'm just going to call it English 10 because that was what we did. That was what I'm considering it. And we're not going to raise any red flags. You know how when you fill out your tax software at the end, are there any red flags in here that the IRS is going to catch? We don't want to call attention to ourselves. And it is exactly the same with the transcript. And so just name the courses fairly common names. Just to give you another example of this, my middle child works in a food truck, and I actually give him work study credit for the work that he does in the food truck. And so he gets a half a credit in work study, and then I give him a half a credit in not culinary arts, because I didn't feel like food truck work was really good when it came to, like, it wasn't, culinary arts was not a good description of food truck work. He's not exactly being artistic in there, but I did call it culinary sciences. And we actually studied, and he got his Serve Safe manager's test. So we studied a lot about internal temperatures of food and how to avoid foodborne pathogens and those kinds of things so he could pass the test. And that to me fell more under culinary sciences than culinary arts. And so that's how I chose to put that half credit on his transcript. And so he's worked in the food truck for 2 years now. And so he has 2 years worth of credits in work study and culinary sciences, a half a credit each. And this example kind of brings me to my third point, which is not getting too caught up in the semantics of everything. Your 4-year transcript for your child is a view of their 4 years of high school education. And we're going to follow the standardized format, which means putting certain classes in certain years. But I don't get really hung up if, for example, I want to award a half a credit in public speaking, and my daughter never did a formal public speaking class for 1 semester. Really, what my daughter did was she had a number of different opportunities where she was on a team of teenagers with our archdiocese who had to get up and go to various events over the course of 2 years and give different talks. And so she had to prepare those talks. Those talks had to be critiqued by her peers, and she had to go deliver those talks. And it was a drawn out process, and it happened over the course of 2 whole years. So instead of getting really hung up in the semantics, I felt like this was worthy of a half a credit. The amount of work that she had done, the peer review that she was under, the number of times that she had to get up and perform these different talks was certainly worth a half a credit on her transcript. But she had done this over the course of her junior and her senior year. So what do I do with that? Well, instead of getting really hung up on it, I just took it and I put it like second semester of her junior year. I gave her a half a credit in public speaking. And I didn't really get bent out of shape that she had actually done some of this her senior year. This was just a good place for that half a credit to fit on her transcript. And honestly, it was an accurate reflection of the work that she had done while she was a high schooler. Okay, and then the fourth thing to think about when you are keeping a transcript is you are going to have to do some calculations, and you might want to look at how different colleges want you to present the transcript to them. I know one of the things that I had to do when filling out the final form so that our umbrella school would issue our transcript was I actually had to provide a number grade. Now, there are other times where you only have to provide a letter grade for your student. So you need to think through things like a grading scale. Typically, 90 to 100 is an A. In some schools or states, it might be 94 or 95 to 100 is an A. So you need to kind of be aware of what those requirements are, either from some governing body like an umbrella school or maybe your state, And sometimes there's no guidance on this at all. You get to do whatever you want, and then you get to decide, is 90 to 100 an A. So you're going to need a grading scale, and then you're going to need to know, do I have to provide a number grade, or is a letter grade okay? Do I have to provide a grade per semester, or is just one grade for the end of the year okay? So there are some tiny little details like that that have to be figured. And then at the end of the day, you are going to need to figure a GPA, a cumulative GPA for your student, whether that be your standard GPA or even a weighted GPA that includes honors courses or any AP courses that your student has done. So there are actually websites that you can go to that will help you figure the GPA for your student if you don't want to fool with doing the mathematical formula, which, if I'm going to be honest with, I forgot how to do that years ago when I left college. And so I just go to the website now. Or actually, even better than that, you can check out our Navigating High School course. And that course is releasing April 2nd of 2024. So anytime after that date, that course will be available. And in that course, we provide for you a transcript generator. So this is a Google Sheet with a tab for every single grade, and you enter in some information. You go into each tab for each different grade level and put in the classes and the grades, and it provides you with this wonderful printable sheet. You then just hit the print button and it spits out a beautiful professional looking transcript that you can send along to the scholarship provider, the insurance company, or the college of your choice. You just add your signature to the bottom to certify that it is true and good, and you are ready to go. And so we cannot wait to bring that particular resource to you because it also figures that GPA. Absolutely love it. It's the best tool ever. Okay, speaking of things that we have for you, if you're like, Pam, I can't even think about a transcript. I need to get started planning this whole high school thing. We have our Navigating Success 4-year high school planner, which is absolutely free. I'm going to include a link to that down in the description so you can grab it down there. And in there, we give you all kinds of course ideas, some different considerations you might want to keep in mind when creating a high school plan, and everything you need along with a fillable sheet to start putting that plan together for 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade for your high schooler. You can absolutely do this, and we are here to help. If you are getting ready to homeschool high school, you are in luck because I have figured out what I think might be your biggest obstacle to homeschooling high school, and I've got a video for you right here.